traveling. A lot of people keen to just come in and chat.
Sure.
Or like people stuck. Like in Sydney, lots of people from Sydney coming up, heaps of people keen.
Yeah.
But I don't have a strict, like we talk a lot to tradies, stuff like that, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have a lot of strict whoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever's coming in.
I think if you start to isolate yourself.
Yep.
Or just put yourself in one bracket, then that becomes hard.
It would, man. Definitely.
Probably same like anything, isn't it? If you're gonna commit to it, then that's all you're ever gonna be.
That's
and
it.
You can't. Which leads me to the first point. You're most probably known. We're good to go. We're into it.
Awesome.
My first point is, how do you be such a big motherfucker for a vegan? Do you have to become big first?
Well,
or do you?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I try and not hide away from is that I was always a bigger dude.
Is it vegan? No, you don't say vegan.
I don't say vegan just because for me that has a massive, I guess, mantle that you have to kind of live up to.
It's a pretty loaded word, eh?
Man, definitely these days. I think back in the day, if you said you're vegan, people were kind of like, oh yeah, cool. But if you say it now, you're kind of put into this category, So that's sort of, I don't really want to be involved in that side. Like a lot of all of my family aren't vegan, or plant-based or whatever. Even my partner, she's not. She's sort of about 90% plant-based, but still has, fish and chicken from time to time. So I never wanted to go to that side where I judged or criticized people that weren't. Man, it's everyone's choice. I obviously went plant-based and it worked for me. So if people don't want to do it, man, that's their choice, and I can't say it's right or wrong. So that's why I sort of represent, I guess, more the plant-based side. For me, that's someone I'm open about my mistakes. I've been doing it for 3.5 years, and I've done some mistakes, and I've questioned it, and I've slipped up, but I always sort of seem to come back onto this path. So that's why I still sort of represent at least that diet. But yeah, I think
when you say you slipped up, you mean like you went carnivore for a week, or did you just accidentally have something in your meal?
Most of the time, it's accidentally. So.
Did you get drunk and have Macca's on the way home? Is that a slip up?
No, usually it's when I'm drunk, I'm actually pretty sweet. I might just give me chips or something, you know.
True, yeah.
But usually it's
you can eat shit as a vegan.
You can eat shit as a vegan, bro. So many people do, They have a bag of chips and they think that they're this healthy person because they're not eating meat, and I'm just like, man, you're crazy. But for me, slip ups is usually ordering something and it might be like a vegetarian burger, which to most people is no big deal, but when you're trying to live like a plant-based vegan, I guess, lifestyle, that to me is a slip up. But I have had in the 3.5 years, like I've had meat in that time. I've had moments where I've gone, fuck this, I'm not doing it anymore. And then it's within that one meal that I'm like, okay, yeah, shit, I don't actually want to do that. So I've probably done that a handful of times.
How does your body react?
I'm pretty sweet, man. To be honest, I got a pretty bulletproof gut. So before I went plant-based, when we went to Bali, I was literally eating shit off the side of the road. Didn't even know what it was, and everyone would get sick, and I'm like, I'm sweet, So
you're dicing with danger over there.
I know. But man, that to me is a slip up. Is when I would order something and I wouldn't know what's in it, and then I might sort of click halfway through, and then I'd give it to my missus, and she's like, nah, that's proper cheese and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I thought it said it was this burger or whatever. You got
a lot of faith on other people, don't you, in that industry?
That's it, man, and that's why I think when people go so, I guess, full on with the lifestyle, it's like, man, they probably have made slip ups, and a lot of people probably do make these slip ups, but they're just not willing to admit it, and that's where I sort of want to come in and be like, look, I consider myself plant based. I went 2 years full on vegan, and then I sort of, like I said, I had a little probably bumpy 6 months, and then basically ever since then I've been back on for pretty like super solid, and but I just want to sort of represent the people that are trying to make that change and trying to maybe have like a meatless Monday, or they're trying to just reduce their animal intake. That's sort of where I want to stand. I don't want to be the person that's like, you're useless or you're shit because you're not plant-based. That's not true. I've got friends who look 10 times better than me, and they're on a keto carnivore diet. So they're shredded and doing calisthenics, and they usually are down here in Burleigh doing crazy shit. And I'm just like, man, I can't criticize that. But for me, it works really well. And most people that have tried the diet that I'm on, it works real well for them too. So it's something that I guess I'm kind of trying to push across in that way is just don't be too hard on yourself and just give it a crack and see how you feel. A
lot of people, I would assume, like with me, if I start anything new and I don't stick with it, and I have one slip up, it's a downward spiral to back to the same way I was before.
Yep.
Like I'm very bad at that.
Yeah,
with a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go into detail, but
yeah, that's all good.
yeah. But nothing bad. But so I think that like you saying, I'll have a slip up every now and then.
Yep.
But I allow myself to have that slip up and realize, hey, look, I'm just a human. I fucked up, and get back on the train again and be good to go.
That's it, man. And like it's funny because when I first went, let's just say vegan for the podcast, but when I first went vegan, it was like I wasn't allowed to make a mistake, and if I did, oh man, it was like I felt horrible. But then I was surrounded by these people who were, let's say like super religious, and then they'd go out on the weekend and be like, oh, that was a mistake, and then everyone would be like, oh, that's all good, like no dramas. But if someone who's on a vegan diet slips up, it's like the end of the world, the guns come out and they're like, you're a liar and you're in this, and it's like, man, we've just made a mistake, and we're all human, and we go through ups and downs, and man, but that's sort of where I was at when I first started. It was pretty difficult, I'd never wanted to associate. I'd never even really told anyone that I was vegan or plant-based, whatever you want to call it. I just kind of kept it to myself, and then slowly just sort of people caught on, and then that's how I guess it got the traction that it got. But
do you think that if you commit to it, then people, because vegans for me, not all vegans, so don't get all offended out.
Yeah.
It's almost like a cult following in the sense that maybe that's more old thinking, but if you were a vegan, you're almost married to a way of life.
Yep.
From there, and people assume that you most likely live out of a van. Mm-hmm. You most likely don't wear shoes. There's all these stigmas that go with it, and that's probably a lot of it was like, back in the day when people were vegan, they were into all that sort of stuff. I remember watching a documentary on these people, and they would only eat fruit or food that had fallen from the tree. You weren't allowed to pick it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you think, intense. Man, you'd be like. Yeah, there's an intensity, and they will live in a van and they have bare feet. So that's probably why I associate them with vegans. And then you get someone like yourself who sort of bucks the trend. So that's why I feel like there's so much. That's why I said it was a loaded word, because there's so much stigma attached to it that if you break that cycle, you're the asshole, and you can never go back. Apparently.
Yeah. Well, that was always the scary part for me was, and my partner was the one who would always sort of pull me in, and she'd be like, hey, like be careful saying the word vegan, because when I first did it, I didn't really know what was going on. I was just like, hey, I'm doing a vegan diet, and people would say, oh, you vegan? I'll be like, yeah, sure. And my partner was like, you got to be careful, because that is such, like you said, a loaded word. And it was, it's
a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame, because like I said, I consider myself 100% plant-based, and I guess you could say on a vegan diet, but I'm just open about the very, very, very few slip-ups that I have had. Like I said, it's a handful. Like I can probably count it on one hand, but to me, that has always made me feel like I don't have the right to say that I'm vegan or whatever. But which is kind of sad, because if it didn't have that stigma, people like myself who I guess do look different and can bring a different crowd to this lifestyle could actually be out there promoting that you're a vegan, but you kind of get that feeling that you can't, so that could be something within myself, that could be something within the people that feel like that. We probably can, and it would probably be fine, but like you said, it's just such a loaded word that we kind of get a bit worried.
It's almost like there needs to be a better word for it, eh?
Well, that's why I think plant-based is cool, man. That to me is your diet is based around plants, and whatever you want to sort of do, and you do, like I said, you do your best with that diet, and man, that's sort of, I guess, a better word for me, I think, to use.
So when you decided to go with that, it was, what was it? We won't dive too deep into plant-based. You're probably sick of talking about it, but was it a functional thing, or was it because I suppose there's a few different ways people decide they want to do it for their own personal health, or they want to do it because they just don't like the thought of animals being used in that way. Which one was it for you? Or also, I also feel like, from the sort of little research I've done on this sort of, everyone's seen documentaries and things, I almost feel like when people become plant-based, that they then start to become, or put themselves in sort of an animal recovery sort of a mode. Like you almost go, well, I don't need, I've lived this life for a year and not needed any animal materials or animal products. So therefore we probably shouldn't start killing those animals and using what is, what was provided by them. So you almost like sort of work, I don't know, I just feel like you work your way into it a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man. Well, I was competing in strongman, so I was a full-blown strongman. Like it was what I wanted to do. I was 130 kilos, and it was my life, man. I was eating, kilos of meat, donuts was my post workout. You know, I was just going nuts, and
I might get into strongman.
yeah, it was good,
Might
bro.
be a reason to.
Yeah.
I might just tell people I'm a strongman.
Bro,
Why are you eating
that's-
shit? Strongman, basically. So
They literally, you do. They kind of go, well, yeah, you must be an athlete. You're just a bigger athlete, you know.
strongman.
Yeah, that's it. But
I'm gonna use that now.
it just caught up on me, bro. You know, I was getting regular checkups with the doctor, and they were sort of just giving me little hints that, you know, I was getting a bit big too quick, and my cholesterol was changing, and my blood pressure was changing, and I just got to a point, you know, long story short, that I just had enough, and I was like, you know, I need to drop this, because I was always super athletic growing up, you know, playing footy and then bodybuilding, and you sort of, you know, you're in good shape, and then I went to strongman, which was a different look, but you know, I was just getting all these sort of tail signs, you know, and I just thought, fuck, I need to do something. And my partner, the one who's actually not fully plant-based, she tagged me in this video about this guy just saying he reversed a lot of diseases, and he dropped a lot of water weight and inflammation.
Is that a hint?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
really
Oh man,
get a bit thick, my man. Yeah.
Literally, yeah. Now that I talk about it, she's like, yeah, you were a little bit big.
Yeah,
it was, But
I had a friend that used to put his wife's jeans in the dryer
oh yeah,
if he thought she was getting big.
Yeah, that's
Not
not
what
nice.
she was doing. Yeah. And she'd put them on and go, oh, and he put them back in the cupboard.
Oh,
and then
wow,
she'd put them on and go, well, he's getting tight. He's like, well, you know, you have been.
Yeah, what do you want to?
Yeah, what do you expect? You know? Yeah, you're shifty.
That's funny. Well, mine were a bit more in my face, man. I remember it was literally within like a week block. I went to the doctor. They were like, your cholesterol and blood pressure's getting like dangerously high. Like, we're going to have to probably medicate you. And I was like 20 or something at the time. And I just went, fuck, like, I don't want to be doing that. And then I remember I took the dog for a walk, was fully out of breath, like literally. And I'm like, man, I can't even walk my dog. And then I'd sit on I sat on the bed and literally snapped the bed in half. So I was like, okay, yeah, I got to sort something out. And like I said, I got tagged in that video, and I thought, oh, I'll do like a little vegan cleanse. Didn't even know vegan was like a thing. I just was like, you know, I knew vegetarian or whatever. And I was like, I'll do this vegan cleanse and just see what happens. I'll do it for about a week or two. 1 week went by, and had dramatic changes, like, you know, mind-blowing changes. I dropped a ton of water weight, you know, my face came in, all this good stuff was happening. So I thought I'd do it for like another week, went and got my bloods done. Dramatically, it dropped my blood pressure and cholesterol. You know, that's going to happen when you cut that stuff out. So that was when I went, fuck, I actually think
Did you feel weaker?
Nah, I felt incredible. Honestly, I that first, I would say 6 months is like superhuman. Like you just feel, it's like you've just cleaned your body out, and you just feel like you're functioning way better. Yeah. You do get to a point where it just becomes the norm, and you just start feeling normal again. But for those first 6 months, you just feel superhuman.
That's weird, eh? When you say you feel superhuman, that might be how you meant to feel.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, and that's why I kept doing it. And I still to this day feel really good, and I'm performing really well. So maybe I am still feeling like that, but I'm just used to it. I'm not too sure.
What's the same reason you felt used to it, and that was just your normal when you were in strongman? It's just
that's right. Yeah,
you didn't feel bad. You felt strong probably, and you're like, well, that's my norm.
Yeah,
eating all that shit and processing all that shit in your body.
100%, man, and that's what basically how it started. And then I just stuck at it, and I fully gave up strongman and went more the CrossFit route. So because I wanted to get functional and stuff again, so I sort of went more the CrossFit route, and just kept doing the plant-based diet. And then it just, like I said, it slowly caught on, and that's sort of how we got to here.
So strongman, did you compete at that as well?
No, so I because I was always in between weights, so I was about, like I said, like 125 to 30 kilos. Where the weights were either open, which is like dudes are like 170 kilos, like they are giants, and the only other class under that is under 105. So I was in that real weird space. So I never got to the point where I could compete, because I didn't want to. At the time, I didn't want to drop weight, because you want to be big and strong, man. So I sort of got to that weight and was happy, but there's no way I could get up to these big boys weights. So
it seems not sustainable.
Nah,
what they do, like that. What's the biggest strong guy? Is it Thor?
Thor, yeah.
He had a stroke,
Yeah,
half his face is failing.
Oh man,
and you just think the pressure that his not even so much as like knees and joints and everything. Imagine what that's doing to your organs and
your heart.
Your heart, man.
And it's just, you got to think, we're like, I guess, especially when you get big really, really fast. Our heart's like an engine, man, and you've just kind of put, I don't know, like a Toyota Camry engine into like a Mack truck, and it's
hard to be redlining.
Yeah, it's struggling. So I think Eddie Hall came out with a lot of that. He was the world's strongest man, and he came out and was like, I don't think he competes anymore. He won it, so he stuck it out.
Talking about the English guy,
yeah. And he come out and he's like, man, I felt like I was on my deathbed every day.
Those abs are his real?
Yeah, I'd say so, man. They're
real as they can get. They're man-made.
Man, I'm not.
Yeah.
I think he's, when you're in strongman, you're lifting shit every day.
Yeah.
So you're probably using abs, but I wouldn't want abs like his. They look like they're about this big each.
Yeah, I'd say like he injects testosterone straight into each section.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember looking at that guy going, "There's nothing natural about that bloke. He's just I mean, that's all for him, but
that's it, man. I think a lot of them.
He's a walking juice machine, that bloke.
100%. I think that's what scared me a bit too, was because I was getting stronger in strongman. Like I think I was pulling up like 140 kilo stones onto my shoulder, and I think it was like 170, 80 kilo stone to like a 2 meter platform, and things were getting a lot stronger, and I was getting better at it. So the next sort of step was to look into steroids and stuff, and that's when I just sort of it wasn't a path that I ever wanted to take. So for me,
is steroids legal in strongman?
You don't get tested. That's what they say. So pretty much, yeah.
So that's a yes.
Yeah, if that's funny, same as bodybuilding. They'd be like a natural comp and a non-tested comp. So people are like, what is that?
I love it how that's the terminology. They're non-tested.
Yeah.
They don't want to say the juice comp.
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so the non-tested. So but strongman's non-tested as well. So from what I know, most of them are they don't test. So.
It seems like it, and also that'd be the other thing that would stress me out is that you're not only you putting massive, so your body's designed to sort of redline and take a massive amount of weight, which is fine.
Yep.
But then when you add steroids to it, you might be making yourself 10% bigger than your body is at its peak able to handle.
Yeah.
And so you're almost like, it's like you're loading up a ute.
Yeah.
And you've got like a weight rating.
Yeah.
But because you've got cooler tyres on, your weight rating can go up, but that doesn't mean the suspension's still not going to fail.
Yeah, that's it.
And the engine's not going to fail because it can't tow that weight.
That's it. And especially, like I was saying, when you do it in a very short period of time, I've got friends in strongman who have done it for years and years and years, and they're killing it. They're fine and they love it. And but I think if you do it, I did it in quite a short period of time, and I think it just became too much. And then when it sort of looked into like the drug side of it, it just.
So did you actually thought this is?
Yeah, 100%.
You actually gave it thought. You're like, right, well, I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, definitely. I think in every sport I've done, I've gotten to that point where I'm like, maybe that's why I haven't fully progressed to the elite level in any sports, because I always get to that point and I'm like, it's just not something that I want to do.
Which sports are you talking about?
Well, I played.
Don't put yourself on the spot.
I played footy, and that didn't get.
Which union or league?
Union. So
What position did you play in union?
I was open side flanker. So I got to the Reds development squad level in Oz. So that's as far as I got. I was about 17, 18 when I stopped playing. I tore my ACL. So
did you play with Sean? Do you play with Sean McMahon?
I'm not too sure, bro.
We had him in here. Yeah,
yeah.
He was on the Wallabies.
Oh yeah,
but he was a Brisbane bloke. I'm sure he might have been in those.
Maybe, man. Yeah, he's probably better than me if he's in the Wallabies.
Yeah, he goes all right.
I could imagine. Yeah. But that was cool, like footy, and I never got to that point with rugby. Like I don't really think would be too much in rugby, because
there probably isn't that point where they become professional and then they go, right, to take this next step, you need to.
I don't think so. In footy, you just kind of look at them and it just doesn't, for me, it just doesn't make sense for rugby. They're natural athletes and they can perform anyway. So, but bodybuilding, same thing. You kind of get to a point, even in the natural shows, man. You look at some dudes and you're like, come on, bro. So that was the same thing. Like, kind of got to a point where I was winning. Like, I won one of my biggest shows, and I was sort of like, all right, what's the next step? And you don't have to. Like, it's not. You don't have to go that route. Like, I've got friends who never ever went that route and are killing it in their chosen profession. But I think I just would get to the point and see that and be like, all right, cool. Well, now I want to try something different. And then that's when I went to powerlifting, strongman, same thing, sort of got to that point. And then when I went to CrossFit, that's a gray area. They represent natural athletes. Same thing though. You rock up to some comps and you're like, man, it can't be possible. But again,
you look at them like,
it's not bagging anyone. Like, a lot of my friends, again, who are top athletes, that I know for a fact they're not taking anything. Like, one of my mates in Brizzy, he's just a full family man. And he would never take anything, and he's a top athlete. So
some of those blokes are just weirdly blessed with
100%,
like just naturally fit, naturally shredded. They just know whatever they touch, and they can eat whatever the hell they want, and they'll always be that way.
That's it, man. And they've had, really, really good upbringing. A lot of them didn't come from super contact backgrounds, like playing rugby, you kind of always got little niggles and stuff, where some of them have come from, more like gymnastics backgrounds. So their bodies are pretty ready to take a beating. Where,
you see those gymnastics people from a young age start fit and they're always strong, and their body's just conditioned for that sort of contortionist way of life, a strong contortionist.
That's it, man. And they can just because I feel like the years and years, being a younger kid playing footy, it just kind of catches up eventually. And then when you go on to something like CrossFit, you sort of got these little niggles that slowly come out where, if they've come from sort of gymnastics or something like that, they've got that flexibility and their bodies, I'm not saying gymnastics is easy by anything, but they've sort of got, they're like flexible and their body just hasn't been getting pounded, for
it's not that
years.
contact. There's no contact.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
unless they fuck it up.
Yeah, unless they
then bad contact.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely, man.
And that's the same thing about CrossFit as well. It seems it's a weird sport to me, CrossFit.
Yep.
Because it's like I think it's great. Like it's a good healthy sport and that's awesome. But it's like a sport that's new.
Yep.
But also a sport of exercising. It seems like it's
I know what you're saying.
Seems like an all-round athlete though. Like I can imagine that those guys, you guys, because you have to run as well in CrossFit too, don't you?
Everything, literally, like everything. Yes, you run. It's like long distance. There's sprints. There's swimming. There's gymnastics. There's Olympic lifting.
Yeah.
There's everything that you can pretty much think of. There's triathlons nowadays.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the top athletes do like a full-blown triathlon for like the day one of a 5-day competition. Like it's nuts, but I can see what you mean. And a lot of these dudes, because a lot of CrossFit I've met are very humble people, and they just call themselves professional exercisers. That's all they do. They're like, I'm just a professional. They don't really even call themselves athletes. A lot of them, but they are. But
hugely,
they're just very humble, and they're like, we just do exercise as a profession.
Because they started this. I don't know if you follow like the surf lifesaving side of things on the Gold Coast here. They started a Kellogg's version of that where they it was called Iron X.
Oh, all right.
And what they introduced a bunch of other stuff to it.
Yeah.
So they had like the Northern Nutrigrain, like the series you see on the beach. But this year they introduced I think it was paddleboarding and they were trying to merge CrossFit.
Wow.
And Ironman.
Yep.
To make it more. I think they're trying to make it more visually stimulating. Stimulating. That's the right word.
Stimulating.
Stimulating.
Yeah.
Made that one up.
Awesome.
But they can trying to make it more visually stimulating.
Yep.
Because it can be quite a boring sport. You can't. It's not that easy to follow.
Yep.
And so they tried to add all these parts to it. And they added all these CrossFit. But what they did is they did some trials, I'm pretty sure, with CrossFit athletes as well. Yep. And they just got smoked because none of them, these guys are like close to Olympic swimmers. And they just left behind in the swim and then they would never have caught them. Because they're reasonably fit guys, so you could never do it. But if they started doing like all the CrossFit stuff, the Ironman would have been smoked as well.
That's it. You're all sort of, you train for your specific sport. And when you sort of, that's one thing that doing all these different sports has kind of humbled me, is realizing that they're all a profession in their own right. So like a CrossFitter might look at bodybuilding and be like, that's a piece of cake. But when you actually do bodybuilding and you target one muscle for an hour and a half straight, far out, like you just fatigue out. Like when I would sort of go from CrossFit, like I would commit to CrossFit for a solid couple months and then go back to bodybuilding with my mate, like a few of my bodybuilding mates, I'd be gassed out in couple sets, because I'm not used to just working just chest for an hour and a half. Same with people look at powerlifting, because powerlifting's very low reps. They sort of automatically think it's a very easy sport, but man, that's tough. Like it's the discipline you need for powerlifting is incredible. So
it's weird, isn't it? All that condition.
Oh man, it's
just
crazy.
Like just in like grappling gyms.
Yeah,
you might get a guy who's good at triathlon, fit as a fiddle triathlete.
Yep,
you'd be gassed in a minute.
That's right. Yeah,
it's just a different.
100%
different way of life, like you just can't you can't condition yourself unless you're doing it all the time.
100%, man. And that's why like I just look at any sport now and I just I think they're all great. Like I remember I used to watch Bondi Rescue and sort of just be like, oh, it's cool. And now I watch it, coming from a CrossFit background, and I just have so much respect for them to be able to sprint on the sand, jump, in and paddle out and save someone's life. It's just mind blowing.
Even the guys that run and swim.
Yeah.
Imagine that, like run. So you run, sprint on the sand.
Yep.
Run, swim, you got to duck under the waves. Like imagine you're already gassing your breath's.
That's it, man. That's what they're trying to introduce to CrossFit at the moment. Is a lot of that almost surf life saving type of training. Like the last comp they did in Dubai was massive open ocean swims.
Really?
Yeah. And these athletes are, believe it or not, are pretty conditioned to it. They're not. You're not as obviously not as quick as.
They're also nutty when it comes to pushing themselves. Like they also got this weird. But if you're top of your game at CrossFit, you've got a weird ability to push yourself.
Definitely,
to fatigue, and that translates to anything. Doesn't it? If they say, right, you'll swim out there, well, I'm going to do it until I vomit.
Yeah, that's it.
What they'll do.
That's it, bro. I did a comp where they had swimming, and I didn't really train for swimming because I just assumed that I would sort of never get to a level of comp where they would have swimming, and they introduced swimming, and man, I got to the point where
You panic?
I panicked, bro, and I was like, usually I can push myself to this point of like you said, you feel like you're gonna die, but in the water, I just was freaking out. Like I'm like, if I drown, I'm like 105 kilos at that time. There's this like little lifeguard girl walking beside. I'm like, is she gonna be able to pull me out, or like? So I started, you start
to sink when you panic too, and then
yeah. So that was an experience in itself, and that again, like that's what humbles me when I see these other athletes do these things. It's just crazy,
Oof. Yeah, I like CrossFit would be cool, but something about it. It's almost like the point of entry is difficult too, because you got to start so not novice, you really are. Like it's almost like it's insurmountable. You've got to get good at that, then you got to get good at that. You think, fuck, I've got to get good at everything. It's tough, man. When you first walk in and you see these athletes doing these crazy things, and then you kind of got to start with learning how to just even hold yourself in a handstand, and then you got to learn how to even just do pull-ups and all that sort of stuff. What's with those pull-ups?
The butterfly pull-ups?
I don't know. The ones where you wiggle around. How's that? Is that done for speed?
It's for speed, purely for speed. So basically, it's almost like if someone
looks ridiculous.
It looks man, it looks ridiculous. But the funny thing is, they're hard to do. So people look at it and they're like, oh, he's cheating. It's like, mate, that took me like 6 months to learn how to even do those.
The technique?
Yeah, the technique. You got to be able to flick yourself up and then let yourself drop and then flick it. Like it just turns into this big technique. But basically it's for speed. So it's like if someone said, I'm going to give whoever can do 100 pull-ups $100 the fastest.
Yep.
You're going to do whatever it takes. And I'm assuming that's how they started. Someone in a comp probably went, fucking just started doing it.
Faster, yeah.
And then and everyone kind of clicked on. And because it used to be like a kipping pull-up, which was sort of you just... when you get fatigued and you sort of just like hit yourself up over the bar. It sort of, I think, started like that. And then I'm assuming someone just learned how to drop down. And then next thing you know, it turned into, now they call it a butterfly pull-up. So that's what you have. Do they specify that? You don't have...
it's just pull-ups and that's the version. Like the Frosby flop.
Yeah. They just say, it might be 50 handstand push-ups, 100 pull-ups, whatever. And then, so when you get to the pull-up bar, everyone starts butterflying just to sort of get it done the fastest. But
so you have to do 100 pull-ups in a competition.
Oh, bro, yeah, man. Have you heard of Murph, the workout Murph?
I've heard, the only CrossFit term I know is AMRAP.
Yeah, as many reps as possible. Yeah,
okay, is that what it is?
Yeah. And then
a Frodo, or what's it called? Fran, maybe that's what
that's like a benchmark workout. So
yeah, there you go, the benchmark.
Yeah, and then there's
maybe that's what someone told me to do once. Was the Fran?
Probably, bro. Yeah. But there's a workout called Murph, which is I think you're wearing like a 10 kilo weight vest, and it's for a guy, ex-soldier who passed away, and they did it in the games, and it's like a mile run, which is I think 1.6 Ks.
Yep.
And then you come straight in and you do, I think it's 300 squats. So you got your vest on, and then I think it's 200 push-ups.
Body weight squats?
Well, body weight, but you've got a 10 kilo.
Vest on,
yeah. And then I think it's 100 pull-ups and then a 1.6 mile run. So, that's
sounds awful.
That's one of the worst workouts.
Yeah,
it's horrible. I mean, but that's the crazy thing about these athletes is now that when that first came out, it was mind blowing because it doesn't like it sounds bad on paper, but it doesn't sound too bad. But when you actually do it, it's
I don't know, bro.
I'm
out of breath thinking about it.
Yeah. But now they just pump through it. Now it's like it's just a normal workout. Like they'll do it in normal gyms now. They're like, we're gonna do Murph today, and I was like, okay, sweet. Like it's
so the standard seat keeps lifting.
Oh, like
because that bar keeps getting put a little bit higher. And
I was actually talking to my client about that this morning, and I was like, man, I wish I started CrossFit back when it sort of first started because doing like 5 ring muscle ups was just crazy. Like if you could do that, you were an elite athlete. Nowadays they want you to do 30 for time, like as fast as you. And these dudes are doing it in like 2 minutes or something like that. It's just the standard.
They look like freaks.
Yeah, it's skyrocketed like crazy. And the average back then would be like maybe 100 to 120 kilo squat clean. Yeah. Now it's like 140, 150. That's like your top athlete sort of average. So it's just skyrocketed the level. Yeah, definitely.
So how did that because you just were on Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Basically, I did a interview with Husey and Ed. So I was on their radio show, and it sort of just opened my eyes to I guess being on that sort of platform, being on like a popular radio show.
So did they just approach you?
Yeah. Or? So I did a big talk at the Vegan Expo in Brisbane. So they had a big vegan expo, and I did a speech there, and it went really well. And then the lady that was running that expo, she forwarded my name to Husey and Ed.
Oh, yeah.
They were doing like it was funny, like a vegan versus meat eater sort of challenge. And so they called me up and they said, can you do this challenge? And I was like, yep, sweet. And then I went to Brisbane and did it. And then they flew me to Melbourne.
What was the challenge? What would you have to do?
Just pull-ups, literally.
Okay,
so each person had a different one. So it might be, you might versus another bloke and you do a run, and then the next person was how many push-ups, and it was, accumulating points. And then it got to, I think, a tiebreaker. So they decided to fly us all out to Melbourne, and we did like a tug of war. So and then just meeting them and being in that sort of circle sort of opened my eyes a lot. And then pretty much a few days later, I was at the beach and I was like, fuck, I really want to do something like that again. So I literally just whipped out my phone and was like, Ninja Warrior. I was like, I've always wanted to do Ninja Warrior. Like literally, I'm not even saying that. That's the one show that I used to really commit to watching. And just because I think you can sort of, coming from an athletic background, you can kind of relate to what they're going through.
You always assume you could do better than that person did.
Yeah, always, bro.
You look at it and go, how did they fall on that?
Yeah, I'm like, man, it would have been easy. But and then I was sitting at the beach. I literally just whipped my phone out and did everything that you had to do. So I just introduced myself and just edited in a couple workout videos and sent my my application in. And then they called me up and said, come to Brisbane. We're doing like a physical. Yeah. If you can pass the physical, we'll let you know if you've made the show. And
piss us in.
Yeah, but man, it was actually hard. Yeah. I was so surprised. Like I thought, TV show, it's probably gonna be like, can you do like a one pull up or something? Yeah. No, man, it was like 30-second dead hang hold, 30-second midway hold, 30-second full hold, so a minute and a half of holding, and then max rep pull ups. You should get minimum 10, and then they'd be like, all right, now that you've finished, quickly do 10 burpees to keep your heart rate up. All right, back on the bar. Like it was intense, man.
Wow,
I was really mind blown, but it was pretty cool because they basically gathered us all and said, okay, look, now basically forget that this happened, because a lot of people can get really worked up waiting for that call to know if they made it or not. So they said, forget that this happened. We'll call you in the next couple of months. It could take, a while to hear from us.
Don't get your hopes up.
That's right. And then as we were all leaving, they said, oh, Jake, can you come back in? And I was like, oh, shit, I forgot to fill something out in the paperwork or something like that. And they said, oh, we kind of do this for a couple of people, and we want to kind of give you the golden ticket. So you're going, like, you start training, you're going to Ninja Warrior. And I was just like, holy fuck. And then to make the story more mind-blowing is that you had to bring like a support crew to kind of let them know, like sort of see what it's going to be like if you were on the course and you've got a partner sort of yelling out and giving you support. And they said, Jake, you're going. And then they looked to my mate who was like a big Samoan dude, and they went, and we want you to try too. And he was like, I didn't come here to try out. And they just went, no, we really want you to try out. So long story short, he tried out. He got the golden ticket as well, but he owns an F45 in Redcliffe, so he decided that he didn't have the time. They just opened the Redcliffe F45, but man, he made it as well. So I'm assuming
he didn't end up doing it.
No, he didn't end up coming. So I was a bit gutted because they were like, oh, we'll put you in the same room, and you will be kind of like a bit of a duo together. But
so what is that? What do you mean same room? Like before the
So they fly you to this year it was filmed in Melbourne, so they fly you to Melbourne and they put you up and everything like that. So I'm assuming
they didn't want to do it.
Nah, I mean,
wouldn't that be good publicity for his new gym?
I think so, but he just they were so busy. Like they're kind of like real well known in Redcliffe, so I think once they opened it, they just will boom instantly. So, but he would have been cool on it, man. He's like 120 kilo Samoan dude, so it would have been cool to see him run it. But yeah, man, he decided not to come, but I just went by myself, and like I said, they put you up in a hotel, and it's a pretty cool experience because it's just you're kind of getting everything organized for you, and you kind of get a little taste of that lifestyle that I think a lot of these TV people would live, I guess. Yeah. You just get an email and they're like, everything's booked. You got your flights are booked, your room's booked, your Uber will be there waiting when you get there. And, but yeah, it's pretty intense though as well, because you get there and it's instantly like your cameras are in your face and you're instantly doing the interviews, you're instantly doing all this stuff. And
there's no mucking around, It's
no mucking around. They're like, all right, go up to your room and chill out for a bit. I literally laid down, text, say the bus is here, we got to go. I'm like, getting ready real quick, and then man, it was sort of all on from there. So
you actually, the day you flew in is the day you.
Yep.
Really?
So I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to say this, but if not, it's a exclusive, I guess.
Right.
But it's
this part, Jason.
Yeah. It's filmed in the morning, so it's filmed from 11:30 at night till like 4 in the morning. So you're literally running in the middle of the morning. So it's pretty.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty intense because a lot of people, especially myself, like I go to bed real early. So for me, trying to run a ninja course at like it was like 1 in the morning or something like that, it was crazy.
Why do they do it then?
they need it to be pitch black.
Yeah,
like,
true. Okay.
And I think because their cameras are so good.
Isn't there? There's a crowd there too, eh?
Yeah, there's a crowd there. Yeah.
That's weird to think that they'd have to.
Yeah, I think it's harder for them than it is for us. Contestants, because they actually have to sit out in the crowd. Where once we're done, we get to go into like a green room and there's drinks and food, and we get to just chill out. You know, it's nice and warm. And
mind you, be pretty action packed though. Watching
it would be pretty cool.
Is it pretty quick turnover? Like, is the next person out and they're into it again?
Pretty much. Yeah, they just got to quickly set up the course and wipe anything down, and then it's pretty much the next person's back on. So
when you got the golden ticket basically to go in, how long between then and the actual competition?
It was a good like month or two from memory.
Was that all? Oh, okay. So it wasn't like 6 months down the track. They said, "Hey, be ready."
Nah, I mean it might have been a bit longer than a month or two. I honestly can't really remember, but it wasn't ages. Like I remember, I got told and I was like, "All right, cool. I'll try and train for it." But man, like as luck will have it, I went to like the local. I didn't know about any other ones, so there might be some more on the Gold Coast, but I don't know. There was one in Narang, and I went to that one, which is just down the road from where I live, and I did one session with like an actual ninja PT, and it was awesome. And then he's like, "Right, man, that'll be our last session. The gym's closing down." And I just went, "Are you fucking serious?" And I'm like, "Well, what am I gonna do?" And he's like, "Oh, there's a really good one in Brisbane. It's about an hour, 2 hour drive." And I'm like, "Man, my missus is at home pregnant. Like, I can't be doing that." So, I didn't really get to train for it at all. I literally just tried to implement CrossFit training and as much gymnastics training as I could. But yeah, I think that doesn't really prepare you for that kind of course, you know.
So I didn't even see it. I didn't get to see the actual.
Yeah.
I've seen a few clips on your social media, but I didn't watch. Good research, isn't it? I was going to watch the whole thing. Did you make it through? How far did you get through?
Nah, so I got to, I got first through, I think it was the first 3, and then I think it was the 4th. There was like it's called the doorknob drop. So basically it's you climb up this steel pole, and then there's a doorknob that sort of goes like this and then up like that, and you got to grab literally doorknobs, and they just
I saw the one, and you sort of got to go like
up, and then when you go up it drops down like this, and so you sort of lose your grip, and then you got to turn around like lash to the next one and do it all again, then it drops down again and then drop off. And man, when it dropped, I was fucked. Like my weight, once it dropped, it sort of went boom and like sort of shut it down. I felt I dropped to my fingers. So then by the time I turned to get to the next one, man, I was in the water. But
you're spewing, you're like, fuck, I want another crack at that.
It was weird. Like, to be honest, I was stoked because I like I said, I didn't really get to train for it. So when I seen the course and because there was a trampoline in my one, I just went, fuck, I'm out. Like, and that was the second obstacle. And I just went, I'm falling in on this trampoline. Like, I was picturing it. I'm like, I'm going to hit it and I'm going to do that like scorpion and like, fall straight in the water. And so when I got through those, I was stoked, man. When I fell in, like I was actually pretty happy, so. Yeah, it was an awesome experience, man. It is a very, very well run show. Like they do treat all the contestants super, super well. Like I was pretty blown away with the experience because I wasn't too sure what I was going to get. You hear different stories about the TV industry and stuff like that, and I was sort of a bit worried. Are they going to try and like make me come across like an angry vegan, or because they obviously jumped on the plant-based thing a fair bit.
So everything you said, were you making sure you were real bubbly and like
100%, man. I was like, they'd ask me a question and I'll be like, I'll think about it, and I'd wait a bit and I'd kind of be going, I'm like, oh wait, I'm just gonna make sure I say this right, but they weren't at all. Like my segment, they did me well, I was really, really happy with it.
I suppose it's not enough footage to build a character. You can't, like if you're on a long show,
definitely.
Like, those not Big Brothers, but those reality ones, you see that are meant to be reality when they're it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but a little bit probably a bit set up.
Lots of set up. Like, how did all the cameras get to that cafe where you bumped into her?
Yeah, what was with
all those shows,
bro.
like those Married at First Sight ones.
Yeah, oh man, I know. It's I don't think I could.
Then my mum sits at home going, I can't believe it. I'm like, you believe in this shit? This is a TV show. This is not reality.
Yeah, I think they give you little hints and stuff like that. But I mean, I think some of it to an extent would be their true personality because you probably just get to a point in that show where you're just like, I'm just going to start causing a ruckus. You're like
you
stuff
that,
like
you think about. I watched a little bit of that Big Brother.
Yeah.
I thought, man, I'll be talking shit there. Not talking shit, I'll be lying to everybody. Oh no, he said this. And I'll be trying to get everybody out there.
Stir it up, man.
You make it a real clusterfuck.
Oh, well, there was that that one that it's something on the islands. It's all the Bachelor on the island or some shit, and that was on the other night, and one of the dudes with long hair, I remember seeing him in the previews, and he was always this real humble dude, and then we flicked it over and we seen it, and man, he was just causing some shit. Hey, like he was just like, you said this and you're a dog, and I was just going, all right, he's obviously over it. He just wants to get out of there. But
Because it's tactical, like all the Survivor shows and
and I mean, a lot of these people, they're lying if they say they don't go on it for the publicity. You know, they're so they're probably just on it. And if he's not getting, you know, if he doesn't feel like his hype is enough, he's like, you just be like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start some shit.
Well, I think a lot of them look at those shows as a way of boosting a career. Like a lot of them go, well, you know, if I get on this Married at First Sight, I'm gonna have this sort of false marriage, but I'll be in the media's public eye, and that'll boost this, and they're correct because it boosts it. You know, they get their 5 minutes of fame. Maybe they're more like 20 minutes of fame.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if they're on, you know, the episodes and stuff. And man, like, look, I've always wanted to do ninja. Like I said, it was something I was always like, man, I really want to do that. And then, but once I got to the point where they were like, you know, you're gonna make it, man, I was like, all right, this is good publicity. You know, what can I do from this? What, you know, so I didn't really.
You've got a unique look too. You don't look normal.
Yeah.
With all due respect. You're a big dude, covered in tattoos.
That's right.
You know, you're not a normal looking thing. So you've got something that probably networks will want. You know, something unique.
Yeah, well,
that's what they're looking for. They don't want
normal stuff.
They don't want like a normal white boy not shaven.
It
doesn't work like that.
That's it, man. And you know, it'd be cool if something came from that. You know, obviously, hopefully, it's something cool. You know, and not something kind of dumb, but you know, I'm pretty good at that at the moment, where, you know, I see an opportunity and I just try and take it, you know. And that's sort of, I did a post about that last night. You know, people have been like, oh, you're lucky that you got this opportunity and that, and it's like, man, it's bullshit. It's not luck, bro. I said I worked my ass off since when I found out I wasn't playing footy. I just started working my ass off in the gym, and I knew that I wanted to do something. You know, I didn't like know exactly what it was, but I knew that I wanted to do something, and I'm just willing to put myself out there. So when I could have easily, you know, if they said about Ninja Warrior, I could have been like, oh nah, I'm on TV, I don't train ninja, I'm probably gonna look like a dick. But I just thought, fuck, I'm just gonna give it a crack and we'll just see what happens.
People say that you're lucky to do that's just shit to make themselves feel better.
I think so.
That's all it is, because they don't have the gumption to go and do it themselves. They think, oh, luck's got to be involved in everything you do, because they don't want to admit that with hard work, then your opportunities come. They don't want to admit that themselves, so it's easier just to say, "Oh, that person's lucky."
Yep, 100%.
That's the way I think, anyway. And
definitely, bro. I think so. Yeah.
The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah. That's it.
It's simple as that.
Yeah, and then people don't see that hard work. You know, they just see the sort of end product, and they're like, "Oh, wow, you know, that just happened." You know, and I'm like,
we just had a couple of months ago, we caught an Atkinson in here.
Yep.
And he went to 2 Olympics for triathlon.
Yep.
He's sponsored by Red Bull now.
Wow.
Queensland Tourism sponsor him. He's got lots of sponsors. He basically travels the world doing races.
Yep. Wow.
And all sorts of stuff. Everyone's like, oh, you're lucky. He's like, I did 20 years of like, he's like, I deserve this. Like I've 20 years of triathlon training every day, twice a day.
Wow.
And
people say he's lucky.
People say he's lucky. Yeah, I don't know how many people say it to him, but he's like, I earned this. Like not anybody can just like, they couldn't pay me to go and do these races. He's fit enough. Like he could do them each week. Like it just wouldn't work like that. Man, so he's like, 100%. I deserve that, and it's like it's come to me through hard work, not through just being. He didn't pull a raffle ticket, basically.
Yeah. So. That's it, man. It's definitely not just luck. You know, I even get that a little bit with some of the things I can do, I guess, at my weight. You know, like muscle ups and stuff like that, and people be like, oh, you know, kind of almost look at me like, oh, he can just do that. Yeah. Like, bro, no. Like I couldn't just do that. Like I had to practice and learn, and I'd spend, you know, hours a day trying to. Well,
again, it's easier for them to say he can just. You're lucky to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Then them have to do the hard work to make it happen.
100%, man. 100%.
It's just how it works, and the more I think you're more you open your eyes to the way people behave towards that sort of thing, the more you sort of realise, and just let them have that thing, because
that's all right, man.
It's never going to change unless they want to admit to themselves. They've got a lot of soul searching to do to try and get that.
That's right, bro. 100%.
I just can't look at someone and say you're lucky.
Yep.
And even someone who wins the lotto, I don't buy lotto tickets.
Yep.
So I'm never going to win the lotto.
Yeah. So
if you want to put your money, you were lucky because you put your money in and bought that lotto ticket, and
that was the risk that you took, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like you opted to use that money for something else.
Yeah,
so there's an element of luck involved.
Yep.
If you want to call it that, I'm real cognizant now. Like I never say to people, I try really hard not to use the word luck anymore.
Yep.
Like I'll say, oh, you know, that was fortunate for you.
Yeah.
Because I think that it represents. It sort of encompasses the fact that you probably did work hard, and I'm acknowledging that rather than saying you're lucky. So like I'll say to you, it's fortunate you got onto, you know, Ninja Warriors, you made the cut.
Yeah, that's right.
That's not.
Well, yeah, man, and that you know, just
that's not belittling.
100%.
You know, belittling thing coming by happenstance.
Yeah, because you are fortunate, you know, and it's sort of, I think, like you said, the harder you work, all of a sudden you do kind of get luckier, like you're saying,
Yeah.
or you do get more fortunate. And I think people just they literally take away that first part, which was always going to be hard work.
Yeah.
You know, so they forget that you worked your ass off. You know, like we were just saying, and like with Ninja, you know, I worked my ass off, and in the, I guess you'd say, the auditions, you know, I was doing my best and I did everything I could, and maybe that's why I got that sort of golden ticket or whatever. You know, because I put in that extra effort. But yeah, I definitely would never say to anyone, like you said, that, you know, you would never say to anyone that they're lucky. So
No, it doesn't. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And whenever you look at a successful person, you don't look and go, well, that just didn't happen.
Nah.
And then when you go to like media opportunities like you were just involved with,
Yep.
you think, fuck, it's not just beer and skittles. Like, you don't just show up there,
Yep.
sit in a green room, and then come in and come up with these great jokes and things like that.
Yep.
It's all like there's preparation involved. Like, there's the interviews, there's the intensity, there's the being away from your family. There's you know, it doesn't all work like that, and it's not all, you know, like you go back to an empty hotel room.
Yep. That's right.
That's not great. Like,
Yep.
I can imagine it would be a novelty.
Yep.
The first sort of couple of times, but then after a while, you'd almost go back to the hotel room.
Yeah, I just want to. Yep.
You live a life of solitude rather than a life of all this fun shit people see.
That's it, man. And even like I did an interview with the project NZ, and
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah,
I did
and
see that,
and
yeah.
same thing. Like I don't know if this is what they actually did, but it sort of felt like, you know, I had a few phone calls first, and they were sort of almost testing out how I spoke. You know, they're like, oh, is he going to be able to handle this interview? So even that, you know, some people would look at that and be like, oh, they just liked how he looked, or he got lucky. It's like, no, I had to, when they would call me, I'd have to try and speak well and try and, you know, do all these, not swear, and do all these things, and try and kind of make the cut, I guess. And so it wasn't it wasn't just luck. You know, it's all these little steps that help you get to that point where you want to be, I think.
Whereabouts did you grow up in New Zealand?
I grew up in Christchurch.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was born in Wellington, but man, I wasn't there for very long. My old man was in the army, so we just moved around a lot. But then we basically all my growing up was done in Christchurch. We were based in the army camp, so we actually lived on base. Yeah, and yeah, man, that was where I did all my growing up in NZ.
Christchurch. So you and how long have you been here for?
I've been here since 2007. So
did you get the earthquake?
No. So the craziest thing, and it's a crazy story. The massive one that happened. Me and my dad were there to see my brother because he was still living there. Yeah. And we just finished the holiday, and we're like, all right, cool, we'll see you later. We jumped on the plane to go to Hamilton, and man, shit you not, the plane was up, just hit altitude, and the earthquake happened.
No way.
Yeah,
really?
bro. So we landed and we got off the airplane. Everyone's running around the airport like crazy, and we're like, what the fuck? Like, what happened? We turned our phones on, and my brother's calling us, and we called him. He's like, man, we just had a massive earthquake. Like, you know, it's fucking not good. And we were like, oh shit. And we sort of, because I think before that big one, there'd been a couple little ones. So we were kind of like, oh, you know, is it that big? And then when we got back to my nana's house, my dad's mum's house, we turned on the news, and we were just like, holy fuck. Like, we were literally 10 minutes, you know, away from that, which it was a good and a bad thing. It kind of sucked because we wanted to be there for my brother, but then at the same time, you know, we weren't at his house, so we could have been caught on something on the way to the airport or anything. So yeah,
that was horrific. Because I remember that I was living in Hawke's Bay then, and it was every news channel for like a week. Yeah, it was just this earthquake that just fucked the city. You know, like
it was sad.
How was your brother at that stage?
He was sweet. He was fine. So he was just he was in his house, and
so he's an older brother, obviously.
Oh, how old? He was he's older than me. So I've got two brothers. I've got like oldest one, Josh. He lives over here, and he was over here. And then the middle brother, who's still older than me, Tyson. He was in Christchurch at the time.
Okay,
yeah. So he was he would have been like maybe mid-20s at the time.
Okay, so he had his own house and
yeah. So he basically said where he was, it just felt like he got like a train went through his house. So he said it just, you know, imagine a train. He's like, it actually went, like I was sitting on the couch, and he's like, it went right in front of me. The whole house shook, and it's real loud and this crazy rumble. So yeah, that's sort of what he experienced. But the house, because I when I moved here in 2007, I think it was about 2000, maybe 9 or 10, I moved back to Christchurch to play rugby. So I went to Shirley Boys, and the house that I lived in, my auntie's house in Christchurch, that was gone. That was just gone completely. Just fell into a hole pretty much. So
that's the scary part too, when you know a city, you know the way it looks, and you go there and realise that's not there, and
man, that's it. Yeah. So once that happened, I think my brother Tyson, he basically realised that, you know, that I can't stay here, because that was, you know, they were having lots of little ones, then that massive one, so he ended up moving over here.
The anxiety of it, eh?
Oh man, I think you know, we were all over here too. You know, my mum, dad, brother. sister. So I think he was like, it's my time to come over. But yeah, man, it was nuts when those earthquakes happened, and it was so sad to see, such a great city collapse like that. So
old city too, Christchurch. There's heaps of old
real old
architecture and things at that place.
Yeah, man, like old as. So
yeah,
all quite historic. Buildings and whatnot there.
Yeah.
So
and so you've always been on the Gold Coast, or were you in Brizzy?
No, so I was always on the Gold Coast. So we were going to live in Brisbane, and then we came. I feel like everyone sort of does this, They were going to live in Brisbane, then we came to the Goldie for like a quick holiday, and then we were like, this is too good.
Better.
Yeah, we can't go. So
Brizzy's a strange place, eh? Like it's I've never vibed with Brizzy. It's just there's something about it I just can't.
I'm the same.
Can't get around my head. It just seems like this almost annoying to have to go there.
Yeah, I know what. Yeah, it's
we're big enough down here where opportunities are here and there's lots of stuff, but then you go there and it's like, well, this is just a
city.
Yeah.
I think I feel bad saying this because I've got a lot of friends that live there and it's beautiful people,
right.
But I feel like every time I go to Brisbane, there's a bit of a grey cloth over it. It's always raining. It's always probably just my luck. I've probably never been there on a nice day, but like driving through the actual city, I don't really know Brisbane too well, but the actual city can be quite nice. There's like not, but there's even the outskirts. It's always like I feel like it's always cloudy, and it's always I'm like, where's your water? Like, where do you swim? And they're like, we don't. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, but
it's weird.
I moved there for literally lasted a week. I was working in Brisbane, and I went and stayed with mates, and I was like, I might move here. It's just a lot easier. It was in Chermside, and living with them was awesome because they're both fucking such beautiful people. But I couldn't handle living in that area, like in the city.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, I'm used to like literally the Broadwater's right next door to me, and I couldn't do it.
I feel a bit trapped.
Yeah,
when I go there, I feel like everything's on you. Like you can't.
Yeah, 100%.
You can't spread out.
Yeah, and you take one wrong turn and you're fucked.
Yeah.
You literally
on a one-way street, 13k that way.
Yeah,
fuck, how am I getting out of
this?
this?
Do a U-turn in 30k.
Yeah. I drove the wrong way down the street down there one day when I was working.
Yeah. It's
these cars were coming towards me. I went, fuck, and I quickly turned into like a hotel. Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah, I've had a few opportunities come up, and it's been in Brizzy. Luckily, I took the Ninja one, but again, I don't know if it's a stitch up, but I remember I had some message, and it was like, we want you to audition for this thing. And I was like, yeah, sweet, where is it? And they're like, oh, it's right in Brisbane City. And I was like,
yeah,
no. I was like, no. I'd just finished working up working in Brisbane. I was like, no, I'm not driving there again. They're like, oh, it's like a great opportunity, and I was just like, yeah, no. I was like, I'm not driving there.
Not going to that place.
Yeah, I'm not.
Send an Uber, come get me. Yeah.
Pick me up. I'll get lost. I'll miss it anyway. So. Yeah, man, it's beautiful. People come out of there, and some people love it. Like the two mates I have, they just love it. They moved to the coast, and they felt the same about the coast. They just couldn't vibe with it.
It would probably be small. The coast would feel small if you're from there. I can understand that.
Well, for them, it was like we go to kind of like Gold Coast people. We kind of go to your local cafe, and it's kind of the same thing, and which I like. I love that vibe where I think they're so used to such a big city, and there's a million different cafes, a million different bars, restaurants, all that kind of stuff, So even though we are spoilt for choice on the Gold Coast, I think us just being such cruisy people, we kind of like what we like, and
it's spread out. Well, the Gold Coast feels spread out, and like it's like a cool little suburb, and like everything's. And I think because we're surrounded by water, you get used to that as well.
Definitely, that vibe. It has a
vibe. You can't really get away from it, Like it's always there, and you just sort of get used to that. And when there's water, that means it's spread out. There's room.
Definitely.
You can't be stuck.
Sure, and just the vibe, man. Like I feel like in anywhere you go and there's a beach nearby or there's water nearby, everyone just, I don't know if the juju from the water comes out and everyone just seems chill.
There's something calming about it, that's for sure.
For sure, man. So I think that, like I said, whenever I'd go to Brizzy or I'd go to see my mate in Ipswich, I'm like, where do you guys swim? Like, there's a pool, like a local pool. I'm like, I haven't been in a pool in like, so
what am I doing, laps?
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy myself.
Yeah, I want to go to the beach, man. But yeah, bro. So yeah, it's definitely. Yeah, I'm a Gold Coast. I like living on the Gold Coast, man. And so we've lived here since we moved here. We lived in. Did all my schooling and stuff in Upper Coomera.
Yeah.
And then once I met my partner, I sort of slowly started making my way more down to sort of like Harbour Town area.
Yeah.
So I sort of got out of Coomera. Coomera in itself is a bit of a shell, Upper Coomera, So to get out of there was pretty good.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's cool, man.
It's a little village in there, isn't it?
Fuck, for sure. Like, but it was cool growing up in Upper Coomera. Like, I think I was about 12 when we moved to Upper Coomera. And it was cool, man. Like, it was a little, like, I don't know.
When I first moved here, I saw Upper Coomera. I thought that's not really how it's spelled.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we used to, we were like, we'd call family and we'd be like, we live in Upper Coomera. And they're like, oh yeah, cool. And then you'd say it and they'd be like, it's Coomera, mate.
Yeah.
But it was cool, man.
That's a cool way to. I was thinking to myself, that's a cool, nod to the Kiwis they keep out there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Named a suburb after a vegetable.
Yeah. They definitely did it, But it was cool. It was like, it kind of felt like a little hood, growing up. Like it. I think every person growing up has that sort of that feeling of wherever they were raised. But it was like a little hood, There was like little shits, and there was this going on and this.
It's quite a tight community in there. Like that, the houses are so tight in there. That I feel like that reminds me of the streets. Like you can let your friends a couple of neighbours up or the block over. It's really easy to find your way around.
Yeah, that's
like whenever I'm up there, I always see kids just burning around on bikes and things. It looks like a cool little community.
It was like that, man, and it had its rough moments too. Like it's sort of because it's such a nice looking place. I remember my brothers would always be like, "Oh, you pussy," we're from Christchurch, blah blah blah. I'm like, man, it's pretty rough. Like, there was heaps of scraps, heaps of like house parties that went wrong, and I remember at school at one point they had a cop pretty much on call that would just pretty much be at the school all the time because there was just so many fights.
Really?
So because no one would listen, like they'd be like, "You're going to get suspended or expelled," and people are like what did so they're like, all right, we're going to bring a cop in and he actually arrest you and fine you. So it was
fuck.
It got like a little bit rough there, but it was cool, man. Like it was it was nothing too
and
bad.
then you drive through, you see like the textbooks garages, the garage door up, and you see all the couches and
Oh,
I remember laughing thinking, I know exactly where this is.
Oh, bro, it's like New Zealand in a.
That's exactly what it's like. Yeah. So, what's New Zealand like? We'll go for a drive up the Upper Coomera.
Yeah, literally go there.
And it's pretty much every suburb.
That's it, man. I remember as well. That was sort of around the time where, that sort of Kiwi Aussie rivalry was sort of at its peak, and that made it a little bit more difficult moving over here because I was just didn't understand it because like whenever an Aussie would move to New Zealand, at least where we lived. It was so cool. Like we were like far out. Like you're Australian. Like did you see kangaroos? And we were so nice. And I moved here and I'm like, yo, I'm from New Zealand. And they're like, fuck you, get out. Like go home. And I'm like, holy shit, I
went for a long time. I'd avoid even trying to say something that would sound New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because I felt like there was a negative stigma around it.
Yep.
And not by everybody.
Yep.
But I think that they thought it was almost like an infestation.
Yeah.
They felt like everybody's just coming over here. Because I think a lot of people that came from New Zealand that moved here, they try and make it New Zealand. So they don't, they try and have the massive things for Waitangi Day instead. I've bumped into people say, "Oh, I don't celebrate Australia Day, just Waitangi Day." Why are you here?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like you've got to be proud of where you're from. I'm all for that.
100%.
But why'd you move here? If New Zealand was so great, why are you here?
Yep, definitely. Go back. Man. Yeah,
and so I think that a lot of guys bought that negative stigma towards it where they almost were. It's almost like I felt like some people, almost like Australians, felt like we were forced to be here. So we're trying to make it in New Zealand. I'm like, well, it's not that at all because lots of people were probably like that, and I didn't want to fall into that.
Definitely, bro. I'm with you 100%, and it's probably a pretty controversial topic because a lot of Kiwis might hear it and think that we're not proud. Like you said, we're 100% proud, but I always had that.
Look at you and you're
that's right.
proud of where you're from. It's not, you know what I mean?
I was the same as you, man. I always had that respect for Australians, and I would always say like, man, I'm so grateful to live here, and I love the Australian culture, like seeing these in Aboriginal culture as well. I love like all of it, man. And it's like
you see the Indigenous round in rugby league they just had, and like
I
thought it was unreal.
It's unreal, man. But like you said, I struggle with that a bit as well. Like I probably because I moved over with my parents, so I kind of was not forced, but obviously you do what your mum and dad do. So when I first got here, I remember I had a little bit of that attitude where I'm like, I'm from New Zealand, like we're way better than you guys, and we're tougher and this and that. And that only lasted about a month because once I started hanging out with Aussie mates and realizing what they've sort of been through and how they've grown up and stuff, the respect for them was crazy. And then I remember in school, literally like all the little fights and stuff I had would be with other Kiwis, because I'd be like, bro, chill out, like, and it would just turn, and then we would end up having a little scrap. So it was definitely, I think people, I think it's better these days for sure. Like
or maybe you're just.
Maybe I'm not around.
Maybe you're not around it, or you're not used to it, or not necessarily, or you are used to it, and it's just. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I'd have to ask someone who's freshly moved here. But I remember just like actively avoiding it.
Yeah, of course. I was the same, man. 100%.
Because it's just I just couldn't be bothered with the I never experienced any sort of discrimination in that sense. Like I'm not trying to sound like that at all, but just people might give you a cheeky comment.
Yeah.
That'd
Of
be
course.
about it. But I remember thinking, oh fuck, it's just because you don't. Lots of people be like, oh, you hire, you're working here, you're working late.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just here working. Like,
Yeah. That's right.
I don't know what you want me to do.
That's it, man. Definitely.
It's weird.
Yeah, I know. I can fully relate where you're coming from, though, for sure.
I still avoid it. I still find myself avoiding it a little bit. Like I just don't bring it up. I just don't.
Yep. Well, for me, I love New Zealand 100%, and like we were just saying, I'm proud, but Australia has given me everything. All the opportunities. The person I am today is I was I've spent over half my life now on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
So I just respect that so much, and being able to go down to Burleigh and go to these world class beaches and all that. It's just, for me, it's there's so much respect for that, and
world class studios in Burleigh.
It's world class studios in Burleigh as well, bro. It's just man, it's unreal. Like being able to live here. So I've always had that sort of respect for that.
There's an opportunity cost of being a small country in like a corner of the earth. I remember when this COVID stuff hit, I remember thinking, New Zealand looks like a good place to be right now.
Yeah.
Like you're just in this corner of the earth.
Yep. That's right.
If ever war ever broke out, I'd want to be there.
Yeah, that's
because
it.
Like you're almost like just this little corner where no one wants to touch it. Oh, we'll just forget about New Zealand. Not too far.
Yeah. Just
no one's
leave
gonna touch you.
Yeah,
but then on the flip side of that, it means you're a little bit isolated down there.
Yeah, that's
sometimes, which sucks, and that's part of the beauty of it. And so I can understand why people like I still maintain there's no more beautiful place in the world that I've ever been to, at least, than New Zealand. But
yeah, I think it would be a good place to maybe retire if or something like that. But
my plan's to get wealthy enough to live both.
That would be good. Yeah, that would be the goal.
Yeah,
that would be nice, man. I think there's there's certain things back home that you obviously miss, but I think for me at this very moment, like I said, I'm so grateful to live on the Gold Coast, and I don't plan on going anywhere. So
because you got a young newborn.
Yeah, little baby girl.
You wait till she grows up and you start to think, do I want that's another hard decision. Like me with kids, I'm like, like especially over there, you did have like a little. It was quite a pure upbringing, a little bit. I feel.
Yep.
And sometimes over here, you can feel like it maybe not so much.
Yeah, it can be tough on the Gold Coast, I guess. with all the different sort of paths that kids can go. There's so many different routes on the Gold Coast.
There's no options when you're growing up. Like when you're young, you either went into town or
that's it.
That'd be about it. You couldn't really get up to too much mischief. Whereas here, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, man. I think I haven't thought too much about that. Obviously, being freshly out the womb. But man, you even just saying that now is definitely something that I guess would have to consider. And I don't know.
It's got to do with parenting too. Like,
of course, you
got to almost put faith in what you can provide.
That's right. Yeah,
and that'll make you feel a bit more secure.
Yeah, man. And I think there's places, even around here that even coming out because I'm a bit more. I'm in Parkwood, so but even coming out to Burleigh and Coolangatta and that is there's a whole different vibe as well, like so even maybe just bringing it more out these ways, might be enough. But I think right in the middle of surfers and stuff like that.
It's a pretty healthy environment out by the beaches too, because you go there, you probably go there early in the morning, like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yep.
Like it's packed in the summer. It gets light at feels like it gets light at midnight in Australia.
Yeah, I know.
But like you get here in the middle of the morning, like the Burleigh Beach along the front there, it's like it's the middle of the day.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
So that's a healthy environment that that is awesome to be around as well.
I fully agree, man, and it's like so motivating seeing all these people exercise, these older people still exercising, and it's like you said, it's such a good environment to be around for health and fitness. So
you feel lazy too when you see them. These guys have been up since 4.
Yeah, I'm at sunrise with my coffee. I'm like, fuck, these dudes are running. Maybe I should go for a run.
Yeah. So what's next for you then?
So I had to step away from CrossFit. So that I loved CrossFit, man. It was something that I really, really wanted to commit to, but basically the body just took its toll. Probably not just from CrossFit, probably from all the other things I've done as well, sports wise. So I had to step away from CrossFit, and then Ninja came around. So to be honest, man, depending on how that goes, and if they want me to come back more regularly, I wouldn't mind committing to Ninja stuff, bro. It was really, really fun.
What avenue can you go down with that? Is there more?
You can do like comps. I don't think I would. I mean, never say never, but you can do like there's like comps around, man. It's kind of like a CrossFit comp. You rock up and there's a bunch of athletes, and you try and complete the course as fast, as fast as you can. And I think it's a little bit more competitive because they let you use like chalk, and you can kind of use little tactics and stuff. Where on the show, it's like I
can imagine there'd be some real low powder weight ratio people that'll just smoke their way through those.
100%. So if I was to commit to that route, I think I would definitely drop have to drop a few kilos.
Yeah.
Which would be tough because I'm at about 112 kilos at the moment. So, man, that's like 22 kilos just to get to 90, and that's still heavy. That's still one of the heaviest. That'd be
a big dude on the show.
Yeah. So, but that would be cool, man. Like like I said, it was such a good experience. I would love to do something on within TV. Like there's always been in the back of my head, like whether it be movies or like Ninja or a reality show or something. Probably not reality with a fiance and a daughter, but
or like Married at First Sight or something like that. Yeah.
Man, we've always had this like ongoing joke with me and my fiance. I'm like, I should go on it. And then come out like halfway through that I've got a wife at home, I've got a daughter, and it's this big scandal. And she cracks up. She's like, yeah, do it as long as I get my new car.
Exactly. You got to promise her all your winnings.
Yeah, that's it. But something along those lines would be cool, man. I've been getting sent like a lot of I don't know if you want to call it fan art and stuff of like people cropping my face onto Aquaman and all this kind of shit, bro.
Cool,
so it's that getting that kind of stuff was like, man, it would be a cool path to go. But I don't have any acting skills or anything like that. So if it just sort of came around, it'd be cool.
Yeah, there's lots of opportunity, and I know what you get. What channel was Ninja Warrior?
9.
Once you get involved in a channel too, they start to because I know I applied for one of those House Rules.
Oh yeah,
a renovation show. Me and my wife, and ever since we applied for it, I think we made it through like the second round or something.
Yep.
Didn't get very far. Like never got anywhere close. I don't even know how many rounds there were. I got through the second one. There might have been 14. Who knows?
Yeah, that's it.
Ever since then, all we get is like emails.
Yep.
Saying, hey, put yourself forward for this. Put yourself forward for this.
Yep.
Because they're always looking for applications. Always looking for volume of people to apply, just to sort of weed out everybody. I've never applied for anything else, but there's all those especially with a look. You're probably almost in the back of their minds for things anyway. They're going to go back to the well, aren't they? Yeah. Like if there's an opportunity, they're going to go back to what they know. No, he was easy to deal with. He was cool. He was up for anything.
Yeah, I agree, man, 100%. And I think that was the hope in the back of my head was, again, I want to do this for the athletic side of it too. I want to challenge myself, but in the back of my head, it was like, hopefully having that exposure and meeting those kind of people. Like you said, I might be in the back of their head for something. Who knows? It might be an ad. It could be anything. It could like a lot of films. When obviously this COVID shit's done, a lot of films get done on the Gold Coast and stuff. So hopefully it can sort of lead there.
Yeah, you could be Aquaman's younger brother.
That's what my client was saying this
morning.
Man
or something.
Yeah. I'll cop it, bro.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I'll take that too. I'll be like, I'll do it. I'll grow a beard or something long. I could do long hair. I'll be stuck with that, but I'll wear a wig.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Fuck, you set, bro.
I'll do something. Fuck, I'll do that.
Do it, man. You'd suit it.
Might be Tadpole Man. Frog Man.
Frog Man.
Sweet.
There you go, bro.
Easy, bro. We'll not take up any more of your time.
Awesome,
Thanks
bro.
for coming in, Jacob.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Awesome having you in. And look, I wish you all the best. It's cool watching you, and because you're local too, which is cool. So we'll have you in again next time. Next announcement, let us know.
Definitely, bro. Thank you so much,
Easy,
man.
buddy.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Cheers, man.
See you, bro.